I'm here. The drive always throws me for a little bit of a loop. Only 2 hours from my house, but still it's a drive. Not quite settled in. This place is feeling gray, chilly, gloomy. I think those feelings are partially a product of not having settled in yet. I've only been walking for about half an hour. This is kind of what it looks like. I'm going to be hiking into a little pond. Not too far from now. It'll probably take me 40 minutes, an hour maybe. I'm just ambling, going really slow. And I'm feeling bummed because I left 2 sausages that was going to be my protein for this trip in my refrigerator. I'm not going to starve. I got plenty of food, but I am bummed. Early October in the Adirondacks. Fall colors. Putnam Pond, Pharaoh Lake Wilderness. Well, this is not so much a wilderness that there can't be an old boiler or two lying around. There's a story behind this, and I can't remember what it is. I know there's probably a mine around here somewhere. Foundation of something. Right on the shores of Rock Pond. I am almost at my campsite. And there's the entrance to the mine with mine leachate flowing out. Very interesting. Home for the night. It's a pretty sweet little campsite. Worth stopping for. And my tarp is right under the cedar tree. Of course, the view that comes with the campsite is really something else. Rock Pond in October. It's kind of embarrassing. I forgot something. I forgot something that would make me fail as a Boy Scout. I was never in the Boy Scouts. I don't know, dozens and dozens of backpacking trips over the years, maybe hundreds, I don't know. I've never forgotten this. I packed up my bag of matches along with everything else and laid them out before I left, and somehow they never made it into my backpack. I have no matches out here, and I have some cookable food. I think I'm going to be able to make do without. Not going to be fun, not going to be tasty. My oatmeal is soaking in water. Oatmeal, cream of rice, and muesli. Yeah, I haven't done this in 2 years. I've never forgotten my matches before. I forgot my sausages. So, but I'm out here, and I'm going to be out, and I slept like crap. But I'm out here. Onward. We'll see what the day brings. we'll see if I'm able to make the trip up to the top of Pharaoh Mountain with a huge, heavy backpack on my back. I have never done a climb with a backpack like that. Never. I haven't done something like that in 25 years. So long, Rock Pond. Hopefully it won't be another 25 years or so before I come back here. Last night I spent most of the time wishing I were home, wishing I were in my bed, wishing I was warm and sleeping. Tonight, or this morning rather, I am glad I'm out here. I'm very glad I'm here. So I'm just going to point something out. It's an ash tree, and it turns around. We see that diamond-shaped bark, and those are not long for this world. I drove down to the New York State Thruway a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago, and you could see dead trees lining the highway from Albany on south. And those are all ash. They were killed by something called the emerald ash borer. So right here, down by the stream, in deeper, richer soils, you've got really big white ash. Really big. And of course, their fate lies with the emerald ash borer. I'd be surprised if these lasted another 15 years. Those bugs will eventually make their way over here. They're in Vermont across the lake right now. Notice them, enjoy them, and acknowledge them. And acknowledge what's happening. Well. I had no idea there was a waterfall tucked back in here. I've been here before. I've walked this trail. I must have missed it last time. Lily Pad Pond Lean-To. It's a lovely place to spend the night. I am moving on. I did sleep here a long time ago. And there you can see the pond in the background. Aptly named. Another super sweet campsite at Crab Pond. Too early for me to stop. I'm really tempted. I could stop here. I would just hang out here all day if I decided to set up my tent and camp. Yep. I don't think so. Maybe. I don't think so. I'm going to go on. I did camp here years ago as well. It's a beautiful spot. I just didn't remember it to be this beautiful. Okay. I'm at the Akshu Pond Lean-To. And I have decided to hoof it up to the top of Pharaoh Mountain with my 30-pound backpack. It's probably been 20 years since I've last climbed a mountain like that with a full pack. It's going to be interesting. I'm feeling a little tired right now. Haven't done that many miles. I've probably hiked about 4 or 5 miles, maybe 3. I don't know. It's about a 1,500, 1,700 foot climb up to the summit. There's a campsite up there. I'm gonna have to carry my water. The kind of thing that I wouldn't think twice about when I was younger, but now, good grief. Maybe the last time I do something like this. Maybe. Check this out. The sun's come out. It's about 65 degrees. It's October. The forecast is for something like this for the next day and a half. I'm at the beginning phases of my climb up Pharaoh Mountain. Feeling a little more energetic. We'll see how long that lasts. Wow. I climbed very slowly. It was very hard. Not too bad, but I can still do it. But I'm up here, home for the night, with a view that can't be beat. This video just doesn't do it justice. Looking over some of the high peaks in the Adirondacks just to the northwest of where I am. And then can see over to the Green Mountains over in Vermont, Camel's Hump, Mount Mansfield, Mount Abe, etc., etc. This may be the only officially designated campsite on top of a mountain summit in the Adirondacks. Perhaps. Home for the night. Couldn't ask for much more. I hoofed 3 liters of water to make this happen all the way up the mountain, about 1,400 feet. There it goes. Perfect. Short wrap up to the day. I'm really tired. I'm exhausted. Really bad sleep last night. And the climb was hard. Not terrible. It really took it out of me. My legs are really feel like they've been through the ringer. So I'm going to be biding a little bit more time before I go to sleep. Yeah, I guess that's it. And what a good morning it is. The mark of an amazing moment is when it's really hard to break the silence, even for a moment. Good morning. And everything that was important somehow now seems unimportant. For now. So the beginning of day 3, I believe, I've got about maybe half a liter of water left, so I'm going to have to leave pretty soon. Just as amazing as I remembered it to be 20 years ago. What more can you say? I'm probably gonna, I'm not sure where I'm going tonight. I could either just hike down the mountain and spend the night by Pharaoh Lake, or hike a little bit more and spend the night near this little pond. It's not too far from where I'm parked, called Grizzle Ocean. I could go all the way back to my car. And indeed, I was thinking that last night, when I was awake in the middle of the night and uncomfortable lying on the hard ground, thinking that's exactly what I was going to do, I was gonna bail one day early, but I ended up falling asleep again, and I'm feeling pretty good right now, which is an amazing thing for me. I often have trouble sleeping in the comforts of my own home, no less out here. So we'll see what the day holds. I think I said earlier I was not going to say anything or talk much about gear, so I'm going to make one exception. And this is my stove, and a huge thanks to a hiker I met on the way up Pharaoh Mountain. He was coming down, I was coming up. I stopped him, asked him if he had some matches, because of course, remember, I forgot my matches. And he instead lent me his lighter. So I now am able to make fire without rubbing two sticks together, which I'm terrible at. So I cooked dinner last night, and I cooked breakfast on this little stove. And this little stove is something that I've had for 34 years, I just believe. It's the first backpacking stove I've ever bought. I believe it's called a Sevilla 123. I doubt you can buy them anymore. And it works just as well as when I bought it 34 years ago. It's amazing how many things really last that long nowadays. It's really simple. It's easy to use. Simple setup. It's just an amazing thing. There are many more. There's so many more advanced backpacking stoves out in the market today. But yet I keep on coming back to this one time and time again. I have one more at home, which I didn't bring. I like this one better. Pharaoh Lake. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better day in October. A little swim. October, I think it's the 5th. No, I think it's the 7th. Feels like it's 75. Water's not too cold. I swam in colder. Well, as pretty as this site is, I think I'm gonna move on this afternoon. This is probably about a mile from where I camped last night, mile and a half, right on the shores of Pharaoh Lake. About as nice a campsite as you could want, with a great swimming rock over there, which I just took advantage of. Even the fact that I don't have a water filter, I have to boil water. I'm running low on food because I left those sausages in my refrigerator. And last time I looked at the weather forecast, it's supposed to rain a little bit tonight and be overcast tomorrow. I think I am going to move on and camp about 2 or 3 miles up the trail, 3 miles up the trail or so, to a small pond. I'm going to hang out here probably for another hour or so. Yep. All right, I can't fail to mention freshwater mussels. There are freshwater mussels in Pharaoh Lake. These are the eastern elliptio. Mussels are the rarest or the most endangered group of animals in North America. Over 300 species on the continent. Most of them are endangered in some way, because rivers, for the most part, where most of the species live, are in such poor shape. And I developed an expertise in freshwater mussel identification and surveying early on in my career, and lo and behold, they were the gateway for me to become established in the career in conservation science that I had. So they are by far my favorite animal. None can compare. Oh, one more thing. Yes, they are edible. You can eat them, but they taste like mud-flavored latex. Take it from me. Yeah, this species is the most common in the northeastern U.S. by far. You find them in rivers and lakes. And Pharaoh Lake has them, the eastern elliptio. Hey, I changed my mind. I'm camping here tonight. I'll be a little hungry when I finish tomorrow, but what the heck? How often do I get a chance to camp in a place like this? Pretty sweet. So here's a little interesting story that will maybe give a little bit of context for what I'm about to launch into. And it happened about 2 years ago. I was walking downtown in my hometown on Saturday morning, farmers market day. A lot of people are out and about. It's a beautiful day, and of course there's street musicians around every once in a while. And this woman was sitting in the corner. I think she was sitting on an amplifier with a microphone turned up low, and she was singing these really beautiful improvised Celtic-like memories, beautiful improvised Celtic-like melodies. Could hear her all the way down the block. I walked by her, and she stopped singing, and she looked at me and said, "Wow, you spend a lot of time thinking about the problems of the world, don't you?" I was like, yep. What was she picking up on? Maybe it's the same kind of things that you can pick up on after you spend days in silence wandering around in the woods and mountains and rivers. So it's day 3. I'm heading back to the car. I've got about 5 miles or so. It's wet, it's cool, it's beautiful, etc., etc. Before I wrap this up, I wanted to mention, because this is day 3, and it's actually, yeah, the 3rd day, full day that I've been marinating, so to speak, myself in this place. And I can really start to feel that marination starting to take effect. Become very quiet, very slow, very deliberate. I'm listening to all the sounds in the forest often, as if, I guess the best way I can think to put it is if the scene that I was seeing in front of me is the prelude to a movie scene. Sometimes directors will use quiet, punctuated by subtle sounds, whatever it might be, with a wind, dripping water, to really set the scene and get the audience's attention. And if you notice what's happening when you watch those scenes, you're paying really close attention to the sounds and the scene unfolding in front of you. It's occupying every bit of attention that you have. If you can replicate that while out hiking in the woods, looking at the woods in the same way that you look at those scenes, you'd really have it going. It's a little sobering to think that it takes, at least for me, a good 3 full days to settle into this space. It's what I like to think is a prelude to a different kind of consciousness. I read a book a few years ago about researchers following caribou in Alaska. And they were researching the movement patterns of the caribou, required them to be up and moving when the caribou were moving, and essentially living in the caribou schedule in terms of rather than sleeping when they want to sleep, et cetera, et cetera. And it was in the day, and of course in the Arctic, of 24-hour sunlight. With that kind of focus and that kind of stillness, they were out there for weeks. They began to dream about where the caribou were going and where they were accurately. I don't think there's anything in our world that can replicate that kind of consciousness. And the kicker is, it's so elusive, it's almost impossible to get our minds there. In our back in camp real world, we're perpetually distracted, perpetually stressed. I don't pretend to be close to there right now. I'm just really settled and focused and quiet. And yet, I'm heading right back into the maw. And to be fair, there are things that you can do when it's not realistic to spend your life out hiking in the woods this day and age. There's a whole catastrophe out there. And sometimes escapism is needed for a bit of time, but it's just that. It's kind of the reality of the world we live in. But there are plenty of mindfulness practices that can help, that can kind of get you into the same place. I used to do some of them quite intensively. I can tell you they can be pretty close sometimes when you're doing a lot of meditation or Tai Chi or whatever, and versus the kind of awareness that you get when you're out walking around in the wilderness for a couple of days. And it doesn't automatically happen if you're out walking in the wilderness either. When I started hiking, backpacking, or in the late 80s, there were no cell phones. There were no distractions that you could bring along with you on trips. And I watch a lot of videos for people hiking the Appalachian Trail, which I did almost a quarter of in the southern part in 1988. Spending a lot of time on their phones. I bring mine. I've got mine with me, of course, right here, trying to make something of value of it. But wherever you have receptivity, you can have distraction. You can bring music. You can pipe music into your ears and listen to that as you walk. All that separates you from the place that you've come out to be in. Again, it separates you from the place that you've come out to be in. So I encourage any of you try to come out here and encounter whatever you're going to encounter, and not indulge in those distractions. I mean, what else do you come out here for, if not that? Oh, I know, there's plenty of goal-oriented stuff that you can do while you're out here. You can peak bag, you can hike for mileage. I've done all that stuff. It doesn't hold much interest for me anymore. I'm old. I remember what it was like to be young and interested in that stuff. Well, I think I said a lot. Didn't mean to get up on a soapbox so much, but that's what happens on the last day of a trip like this. I wish there was someone there to like kick me in the butt every time I feel lazy and reluctant to make plans, to get packed, to get myself out the door, to do things like this. It's just simply amazing. The wonders never cease. Goodness gracious. I think I'm gonna be mighty low on food and water by the time I get back to my car. So I'm probably gonna be low blood sugar and less coherent. So while I'm feeling more coherent, thank you for following along. Thank you for tolerating my monologues. And pop quiz time. Who out there can tell me where this came from? The autumn leaves that jewel the ground, they know the art of dying. They leave with joy their glad gold hearts in the scarlet shadows lying. I didn't write it. Who did? So it's possible that I may create more videos in the future. Undoubtedly, some of you are going to hate this. Some of you are going to like it. Some of you are going to be indifferent and watch 30 seconds if that ends, and then move on to the next distraction. So if enough of you like it, maybe I'll continue doing this. I mean, I go out hiking a lot, not all the time for 3 days, most of the time just for a couple hours here and there. And of course, there's a selfish part embedded in this, and that if enough of you like this, it'll motivate me to get out the door and to do more of this multi-day trekking and reflecting on this and that and blathering on about this and that and showing you just how incredible this world is beyond what we've created in our cities and streets and towns and places of commerce. Thank you.